know what day it is. It's the 10th of May. And what does that mean? Did you answer? I bet you did. But in case you're hiding from a murderer and don't want to make any noise, I'll say it for you. It's the day of the Valleyville Pumpkin Festival, everyone's favourite day of the year, and I know you're all very excited. It's also Root Canal Appreciation Day, so make sure you go out there and appreciate some root canals today. So of course, with the Valleyville Pumpkin Festival, I'll be talking about the incredibly popular Hallmark movie Growing the Big One. Growing the Big One is also what Blackpool Pleasure Beach said in early 1994. Comment below if you get that joke. It's really funny. Please comment if you... Anyway, so our main character Emma is finishing up her radio show for the day. Her boss comes in and tells her that they're now part of the world media merger, but it's okay because everything will stay the same.
Read my lips, nothing's gonna change.
Then she gets a call from home saying her granddad died and she has to go home. What an inconvenient time. So inconsiderate. Hey! For sale! So Emma goes home and meets this attorney called Bobby as the townspeople gossip about her. Well, this one guy doesn't actually think it's her.
Are you out of your mind? She had short hair and freckles.
Yeah, that girl over 15 years ago had freckles and short hair. So they definitely couldn't be the same person. Bobby explains to Emma that her granddad already arranged his own funeral. Kind of a girl boss move if you ask me.
Fried chicken?
Wow, that sounds like him.
And he also left Emma the farmhouse and a single pumpkin seed apparently.
What are they?
They're pumpkin seeds.
He also wrote her a letter which she reads sitting very comfortably on a swing. He says in his letter that basically he knows she's not a farmer, but he wants to pass down his legacy to his only surviving family member. So some of the townspeople tell Seth, Emma's new next door neighbour, about the pumpkin seeds she has, and he needs those pumpkin seeds so he can win the pumpkin competition and get all that money. Later on, Emma calls the police because she thinks someone's breaking into her house, but it's just Seth fixing the lock. In the middle of the night. What? Who does that? He goes, well, this town isn't exactly the mean streets. I'm sorry. Crime happens everywhere, Seth. And he calls her paranoid. Like I would be too if someone was messing around with my front door in the middle of the night. Next day, Seth uses Emma's granddad's wake as an opportunity to try and get the pumpkin seeds. But he's interrupted by Bobby, who tells Emma that her granddad has $75,000 worth of debt, and if she doesn't pay it by the end of the year, they're going to take the farmhouse. She goes to speak to the bank manager, who's also the mayor, who's also at the wake because apparently everyone in this town is. She basically asks how she can keep the house, and he's like, well, we already have a buyer, so you're screwed, sorry.
More chicken bear?
Don't mind if I do.
Then Seth speaks to her again and offers her $100 per pumpkin seed. I'm sorry, man, this is not the time. It's her granddad's wake. Then Emma gets a call from her boss.
Remember I told you how nothing's gonna change? As I've just been fired. I think I may have been misinformed.
That's cool. So she goes back and finds out that her job has been taken over by this girl Savannah because she's younger and caters to a younger demographic. And they say that Emma has been reassigned to a gardening program and has to broadcast from her granddad's farm.
Oh, I mean, I might as well broadcast from my tractor.
You own a tractor?
So she goes back and sees that webcams are being set up inside her home. They can watch at any time. Like, these webcams are always on. They can watch her at any time in her own home. These webcams are just broadcasting.
Kind of creepy, huh?
Extremely.
Emma goes into town to see the biggest event of the year, the pumpkin parade, and Seth offers her $200 per seed. My guy's desperate. At the parade, Emma finds out that the pumpkin growing contest is dedicated to her granddad and that the prize money is
$25,000. I like the sound of that.
and it's doubled if someone can beat the world record for the biggest pumpkin ever grown. And Emma's like, I got this, it's in my genes. And then she's immediately confused.
This is like reading Chinese underwater with a blindfold on.
Later, Seth comes to her house again to offer her $300 per seed. Oh my god, let it go. And she's like, no, I'm gonna enter the competition myself and I'm gonna win. Then Emma does her first broadcast and she keeps on getting asked nature questions that she doesn't know the answers to.
Not until you've consulted a professional.
I thought you were a professional.
Are you looking it up?
No.
Yes, you are. I can see you.
So all the people listening in the town just laugh at her and her boss does this. I'm sorry, she told you she had no idea about plants. What did you expect from this? And she tells her to get better. Fast. Some of the ladies of the town come to see Emma to cheer her up, and they talk about pumpkins and they say that you have to sing to your pumpkins to help them grow. Seth stands outside and apparently he can hear this. But obviously Emma's got all those webcams in her house and they were on and broadcasting, and apparently Emma's gone viral.
The younger demo loves that freaky giant growing pumpkin thing.
Oh.
So Emma's boss sees this and basically wants Emma to focus on growing the big one. Hey, that's the name of the movie! Then Emma finds this book full of pumpkin growing secrets that her granddad wrote, but she can't understand any of it because it's written like poetry.
Pumpkin poetry code.
So she asks the ladies for help.
I have no idea.
Okay then. Seth yet again asks to come up and partner with Emma this time.
Well, there are certain things that can be better when you do them with someone else.
We're talking about pumpkins.
I'm talking about pumpkins. Unless you're not talking about pumpkins.
I hate enemies to lovers things, especially in movies like this, because it's like, she hates him, she's in love with him, they're getting married. I'm like, where was the build? Then Bobby visits Emma with a gift of actual shit.
I left a big old pile of it in my living room for 3 days.
How charming, and they say chivalry's dead. Then Seth gets involved again and asks Emma if they can partner up. This guy's lines must have been so easy to learn, they're just the same thing over and over again.
Not to mention the fence.
Then Emma goes to town poker night and wins and says that she basically paid off all her college tuition with money she won from gambling. I looked it up and the fees would have been like 60 grand. It seems to me that Emma should give up this whole pumpkin thing and just take up gambling full time. Anyway, they play another game and Seth says, if I win, we have to partner up. And he wins. So they have to partner up.
See you at sunrise, partner.
Then Emma is broadcasting again with Seth in the room and these women call in and say that he has sexy eyes.
We think you have sexy eyes.
They got that from this broadcast? I can't even tell if there's a toaster in that kitchen, let alone see someone's eyes clearly enough to evaluate if they're sexy or not. Then Bobby calls into the show to ask Emma on a date and I'm like, it's a gardening show. Keep it in your pants. Seth later on says,
Where are you going in that dress?
bro, she got asked on a date like 2 hours ago and you were sat next to her. Are you stupid? Seth says, you can't go because I need help because Coyote's gonna eat the pumpkins. And Emma's like, no, and goes to dinner anyway. When she gets back though, she hears a coyote, so she maces it. But it was actually Seth.
You maced me.
Now I'm not saying he deserved it. Emma goes in the house and Bobby tells Seth that the reason Emma wants to win the money is to save the farmhouse. The next day, Emma apologizes to Seth for macing him and Seth tells her that he didn't want to go in on that date with Bobby because he didn't want Bobby to get hurt.
You thought I would hurt him?
No, I would.
Oh my god, I love you, Emma. Shut up, I don't care. When did you fall in love? Every conversation you've had prior to this was you going, I'll pay you this for your seeds, I'll pay you this for your seeds. Why are you in love now? This is ridiculous. Anyway, the pumpkin competition leader comes over and he's like, are those your pumpkins? They're shit.
They should be huge by now. You should be up to your knees in pumpkins.
He says that they need to feed them, so Seth tells Emma to go down the road and get some raw horse manure.
Lots of horses.
She does it and comes back and complains that she's covered in actual shit.
Where's the poop?
Smells good.
And he calls her a drama queen. Okay, Seth, you try get covered in horse manure. See how you like it? Then he invites her over for movie night.
Actually, I got 5 cats.
He then tells her that he used to be a rich, big city boy until he realised he was wasting his life and became a poor, small-town guy. Then they watch old movies together and... of course this happens.
Did anything bloom in that barn last night?
Then the next day, Emma and Seth go to spy on the mayor's massive pumpkins to find out his secrets. And Emma gets skunked. She thought a skunk was a cat and followed it into a barn. And the mayor calls the police on them both, but they only arrest Seth because Emma stinks.
As far as I'm concerned, she can go free. She's not sticking up my jail.
Yeah, that's how the law works. So, you didn't arrest him? No, sir. You did not arrest the killer? No, I did not. He had blood on his hands when you got to the crime scene. Yes. And admitted to the murder. Yes. But you let him go. I did, yeah. Why would you do that? Well, you must be the stupidest person this police force has ever hired. You're a disappointment to your family. You make me want to be actually sick. He had BO. He had BO. He had body odor. It was really bad. He smelled really bad. Well, why didn't you say that before? I mean, I tried, but you just didn't listen to me. I'd rather have a murderer on our streets than a stinky guy in my prison. You and me both, boss. You know what? I'm gonna promote you, but the only position above mine is yours. I quit. 2 in the clink, 1 in the stink, if you know what I mean. I do not. Anyway, Emma has a nice relaxing bath in what I assume is the blood of innocent babies. So Seth gets out of jail after one night and Emma says that they're the number 2 radio station. Number 2. Number 2. And they have to do promo together in Seattle. They take photos together and give inspirational messages.
Lattes are just coffee with milk.
Truly exhilarating stuff. Emma also says,
Seth Colin, who gives all new meaning to growing the big one.
And cut.
Damn, movie night must have been more interesting than we thought. Then the vice president of the media company asks Emma to be co-anchor of a TV show in New York once the pumpkin competition ends. She immediately agrees and she is really happy about it. Emma goes back to her hometown and this woman tells her to follow her heart. Then everyone goes to see their huge pumpkin.
It's ginormous.
Oh, holy moly.
I'm gonna leave you in charge of the camera. You know how to work it? Sure, I'm a kid.
Come on, Emma. Of course she knows how to work a camera. She's a kid. Kid don't know map. Kid no camera. Then Emma finds her granddad's real pumpkin secrets book instead of that poetry book she found ages ago. The whole time they were just analysing the poetry and deciphering it into vaguely pumpkin-y pieces of advice. Then it's time for the pumpkin competition. What do you think's gonna happen? Yeah, Emma and Seth's pumpkin is the biggest pumpkin ever grown. Woohoo, surprise, surprise. So they win. How shocking. And Seth says that Emma can keep all the prize money so she can pay off the debt on the farmhouse. And they say chivalry's dead. Then a limo comes to pick Emma up and take her to her new job in New York. But she changes her mind 3 seconds into the drive. Oh my god, what a twist. Who saw that coming?
I want the big pumpkin, not the big apple.
Damn, I hope that writer got an award. You know they were so proud of that. Then she rips up her contract and starts her new life in her new town by littering. Cut to 6 months later and Seth proposes to Emma live on air. And he puts the ring on her finger before he even asks her to marry him.
Will you marry me?
That would have been really awkward if she just said no. She would have just been like, sorry Seth, one sec. Yeah, you can have that back, and thank you everyone for listening to this broadcast. And that's it, that's the movie. I mean, it was nice enough, just a classic Hallmark, really. I would have liked to see a version where Seth and Emma never teamed up, but he just kept on offering her increasingly more amounts of money for the pumpkin seeds. Like, by the end of the movie, he's like, I will give you $5,000 for half a pumpkin seed, and she's like, bro, the competition ended like 5 months ago. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you all learned a valuable lesson. If a woman says no, just keep asking until she says yes. I'm kidding. This movie has been described as a very decently executed woman's movie, so please do not even attempt to watch this movie if you're not a woman. And if you're still unsure if this is a good movie, here's another review. Yes, I recommend it. James Welch Henderson, Arkansas, January 25th, 2021. So if you trust the judgment of Mr. Henderson and want to watch this movie for yourself, you can find it on YouTube. I'll link it in my description. And if you enjoyed my video and want to support my channel, you can give the video a like and subscribe if you want to. I'll also be replying to all the comments, so feel free to leave a comment. What's your favourite Hallmark movie? What should I cover next? How am I really? Please don't ask that. Anyway, that's all from me today. How do I do this? Can I do it with my iPad? I guess.
Bye! You eating pumpkins?
Feed those babies. They're starving.